and despair, success, failure, love, hate, and a lot of hanky-panky.
Take our latest case. It began to unfold in the city zoo.
When a simple man, Sammy the Bird, gave us a lead that started the wheels turning. Sammy is a purveyor of confidential information.
The word is stool pigeon.
I'm in Frank's place, see? You know, on Bank Street. And there's this guy, Archie. He gassed up to here, and he's buying for the whole joint. It develops this Archie added up a score. A businessman, he says, give him 500 clams to lean on a guy. Just to scare him out of town, like.
The intended victim?
Nick Finelli.
Archie do the job?
Nah, just took the bread and forgot it. Figures, what is the square gonna do? Complain to the Better Business Bureau. Nice item, huh? Waste a C-note and a half at least. $20? You gotta be kidding.
City council slashed the bribery budget. Sammy the Bird's leads usually lead up a blind alley where some schnook is being mugged. There was work to be done. And then Pamela reported for duty. Pamela Thorndike is working on a master's degree in criminology, and she's been assigned to us for on-the-job training. Outrageously beautiful, unbelievably rich.
And a young lady who really knows how to turn a phrase.
Hi there, crime fighters.
Finelli specialized in bilking women. Time we had a talk with him. Turn off the siren, Herbert.
Spoil sport.
Arriving at Finelli's apartment, we were admitted by a Mrs. Jonas, the resident manager.
She was extremely cooperative.
I don't care what you said. Always on television, the first thing the officer produces a search warrant.
Lady, we'll mail it to you.
It's all right, Mrs. Jonas. We're not going to disturb anything.
Disturb. Just so I get my search warrant.
To look at Mrs. Jonas, you'd never think she was still in her 30s.
Yeah, but who wants to look at her?
Oh, has Finelli lived here?
Oh, a couple of years, give or take a month or two. With my tenants, I don't insist on a written lease. By me, an old-fashioned handshake's plenty good enough.
Finelli's a swinger, all right. Names and addresses of over 50 women. Very complete. Names, addresses, phone numbers, measurements, comments. Oh, boy.
I'll take charge of that, Herbert.
Extremely useful information.
I know. Mrs. Jonas, when next you see Finelli, would you have him call that number? It's in his own best interests. Got it? Economy.
Yeah, and tell him he ought to get this couch fixed. Either springs broken or somebody stuffed with beer cans.
My dear young man, that happens to be a very expensive couch. It's what they call a convertible. It opens into an extra bed, see?
Let a man do it.
Herbert.
Only take a minute, Walt. See, I have a talent for these things.
Let me.
No, me.
Let me.
Why can't I tell
I
her?
don't want you to tell
But
her.
I
I'll
worked
tell
on
her.
this case as much
I know
as
I
you
worked
did.
on the
I've
case,
got
but
a
you
right
don't tell
to.
it good.
But you
That's
never let me
I
even
don't have
take a
to
chance
let you.
on it.
I've seen you do it.
Give me a
Twice
chance.
that I give you a
I've been
chance.
on this case.
My name's Reddy. Sergeant Reddy. I'm a cop.
I'm his partner, Sergeant Willing. Also a cop.
It's a demanding job. Requires courage and a cool head and split-second decisions. 1,000 skills. Danger walks beside us in the night.
A nasty world.
Crime wears a smile and a tuxedo, and murder is a sophisticated lady with a cocktail in her hand.
A dangerous world.
But we're skilled practitioners in the art of law enforcement. We're trained in the art of protecting people so that they can walk the streets without apprehension. So they can go to their work without anxiety. They can sleep without fear.
It's a dangerous world.
My name is Reddy.
My name is Willing.
I'm ready.
I'm willing.
Finelli! You've got a talent, all right.
Is he?
Definitely.
I'll be the judge of that.
Is he?
Definitely.
This is terrible. Terrible.
Operator, police, emergency, code 14. This is Detective Sergeant Reddy.
He was such a good tenant, too. This is terrible.
Calm down, lady. Everything's under control. He's calling the cops.
Case gained momentum. At last, we had the missing link necessary in a murder case at Corpus Delicti.
More patois? The victim.
So stiff. And somewhere, a killer roamed free on the city streets.
It's enough to scare a fella.
The vast apparatus of law enforcement went into high gear. Medical examiner,
Fingerprints.
ballistics,
Criminal lab.
rogues gallery,
FBI file.
Interpol,
Nothing.
zero.
Blank.
Place to the taxpayers' money. I remembered Sammy the Bird. It mentioned the name of a hired killer, Archie. He hung out in a seamy dockside dive.
We had to treat him with kid gloves.
Come on. All right. Just shove it.
You know Nick Finelli?
Sure he knows Nick Finelli.
No, Finelli's been killed.
Of course he knows Finelli's been killed.
You own a gun?
Of course he owns a gun.
Wise up, Archie. This is your chance to level. This isn't overtime parking, you know. This is murder one.
That's right, the big rap.
Come on, level with us.
I don't Cop a plea while you can.
Work with the DA if you cooperate.
For the last time, Archie.
Stop it. I never killed Nick Finelli because I never met him. Last week, a guy, a total stranger. I wouldn't know him again if I saw him. He gives me this 500 to scare him out of town. Guess I took the goods, but I didn't deliver. What's more, I got witnesses to prove where I've been every minute for the past 35 days. Anything else you'd like to know?
I have about a minute left on my reel of tape. If you'd like to sing something.
Oh. Way down upon the swamp. Far, far away.
Lieutenant Perkins of the crime lab told us that we had very little to go on.
Perkins is living proof that crime does not pay. His take-home is $43.80 a week.
Might be an angle. A blonde hair.
Human or animal?
Well, I haven't finished classifying it yet.
You think a dog shot him?
Where was the hair found?
Under a fingernail of Finelli's right hand.
Mm-hmm. Could have grabbed at the killer's hair.
Crime lab, Lieutenant Perkins. Yes, they're here. It's for Sergeant Reddy.
It's always for Sergeant Reddy.
The call came in from a Wilma Jennings O'Brien requesting to see us on her yacht. She said she was Finelli's lawyer.
Not that he needed one anymore.
There was much to admire in Nick Finelli. You assume, cynically, because of the economics involved, that he deliberately exploited the institution of marriage for his own profit. Obviously, you did not know him. Nick was an incurable romanticist.
I got the impression that the lady was a bit under the weather.
I'd say she was smashed.
It's a very stirring speech, Counselor, but you're not addressing a jury.
Yeah. And you asked to see us, remember, lady?
Something occurred a few weeks ago which may have a direct bearing upon Nick's death. A man offered him $10,000 to stop seeing his daughter. Naturally, Nick refused.
Smashed, did you say?
Try stone.
He insisted that he and Julia, that's the girl, were in love. They would be married. Money didn't interest him.
Well, when you've got it all, what's 10 G's more or less?
The girl in question turned out to be a Julia Prescott. In Finelli's little book, Julia rated a whole page to herself.
Julia was a folk singer at a nightclub called The Hang-Up.
Police officers should comply with traffic regulations in order to set an example for the citizenry.
Still, there are times...
Police officer, move it, buddy!
A blonde. Any questions, gang?
Where he wrote S-O-T-P.
What do you think of this chap?
This is one place they'll never hold a bar mitzvah.
You mind if Kirby joins us?
Sit down. Sit down.
Okay, Julia. What about you and Nick Finelli?
Buzz can be so direct.
Come on.
Nicky and I were terribly involved. I mean, we related.
Enough to have him murdered?
What a repulsive thought.
Did you ever give him any money?
Absolutely not.
But he knew you were loaded.
Nicky and I never discussed bread, though we certainly cast a lot of it upon the water.
All right, all right. Hurt.
At this joint, they give you a package deal. Musical entertainment and the 11 o'clock news.
If you weren't subsidizing him, where'd he get the loot?
I'm afraid those issues are beyond me, Sergeant. My orientation is strictly credit card.
And you, Buster, did you kill Finelli?
You're putting me on.
I just wanted to hear him talk.
Time to review the case. Lieutenant Perkins of the crime lab reported that the blonde hair found under Finelli's fingernail came from a wig.
A blonde wig.
Larry Perkins gave me that little tidbit of information Saturday afternoon. So naturally, it was logical to assume...
Saturday afternoon? We didn't work Saturday afternoon.
Well, I know. I saw Larry Perkins at the ball game. He told me then. That meant that possibly some brunette or a redhead had donned a blonde wig. And then...
Why didn't you ask me to go? I pay my own way, you know.
Yeah, but it's not a question of paying. It didn't cost me a penny. It's just that the captain asked 10 guys from the station to the ball game, that's all. It was determined that the wig was from a type made only in Hong Kong, so naturally I figured...
Now, when a captain invites 10 of his men to a ball game, I should be invited too. Why wasn't I invited?
I don't know. I guess he just asked his friends, guys he likes.
Guys he likes. I've been on the force 15 years. I've helped him solve 1,000 cases. When it comes to a ball game and a little fun, I'm out in the cold.
What are you're getting so upset about? Bunch of guys get together for a ball game, then they go over to the captain's house for dinner and drinks. Now, what is the big deal there? Now, the next move
Is to find a job where your friends appreciate you and invite you to a ball game and a little dinner.
down, Herbert. Believe me, the captain appreciates you. It's just that your name slipped his mind, that's all. Now, the brunettes were not ruled out. Finelli's lawyer, Wilma O'Brien, was back on the suspect list. Sammy the Bird told me that if we'd meet him at Coit Tower, he could peddle us some information about Wilma.
Sammy the Bird told you. When did you see Sammy?
Saturday, at the ball game. We found Sammy lying on the ground.
He was either dead or he was too cheap to rent a room. I'll say this for him. He never looked better.
There's a gunshot wound, close range. Whoever did it picked him as clean as a Christmas turkey.
So we come up empty?
He died as he lived, with his hand out.
I'll call the coroner.
Herbert, do you think that this is a proper occasion for popcorn?
It is for this popcorn.
Check stubs. She's at it again.
Obviously a devout alcoholic.
All right. I was lending Nicholas money from time to time.
These are for sizable amounts, Miss O'Brien.
The money I earned in my capacity as legal counsel to Mr. Finelli was also sizable.
You can, of course, produce promissory notes signed by Nick.
Well,
Just a simple handshake, right, lady? How is he?
How was he to pay you back? When?
I was in no hurry.
Not at first, you weren't.
What is that supposed to mean? Hello?
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
Just a moment. It's for one of you, Lieutenant Perkins.
Perfect. Pamela?
Could be our clincher.
The way we see it, Wilma, the money that you gave Finelli was a down payment on a marriage contract.
Nicky and I marry?
The lady has a distilled philosophy.
Yeah, 80 proof. Look, all the girls had eyes for Nicky, baby. Maybe you were vaccinated?
He was seeing Julia Prescott. If what you say were true, do you think I would be fool enough to underwrite such a relationship with my own money?
Oh, at first you just thought he was going to take her like all the others. Then all of a sudden, something he said. Maybe the way he acted. Made it different from all the others. Different from all the other times, and then it hit you. This time it was for real. It hit you.
And you hit Nicky.
Sometime this evening, a small grifter by the name of Sammy the Bird phoned you up, Counselor, with what he thought was an airtight little shakedown, and like Finelli, Sammy got hit, too.
You can't prove any of this.
I began to feel I had her on the ropes.
We had her on the ropes. Yes, Herbert. What did Perkins have to say?
Nothing important.
Well, it must have been important enough for him to track us down at 2:30 in the morning.
I'll tell you later.
Tell us now.
I said I'd tell you later.
Brought another piece of paper with us. A search warrant.
For what, Sergeant? You don't really expect to find a gun nestled among my lingerie, do you?
Not a gun, lady. A wig.
A blonde wig made in Hong Kong. A strand of hair from just such a wig was found under Finelli's fingernails. So I'll just take a look around, okay?
That won't be necessary. I am permitted to change.
We're in no hurry.
Would you believe it? Neither am I.
Poor girl. We'll have to visit her in prison.
Yeah, we'll bring her a cake with a bottle in it.
Time to close the book on the Hong Kong wig caper.
So you know what keeps bothering me? Why did Pamela refuse to tell us what the call from Lieutenant Perkins was about?
It was the wig that broke Wilma O'Brien down, right? Clinched it?
Sure. So?
The call from Lieutenant Perkins was to tell me that the strand of hair under Finelli's fingernail was from a toupee.
A toupee?
It belonged to one of the ambulance attendants that removed Finelli's body from the apartment.
Clever girl, that Pamela. You know, there's another thing that keeps bothering me. How did Sammy the Bird...
I'll explain that to you tonight at the party.
Fine. What party?
The captain's 25th wedding anniversary.
Why wasn't I invited?
What do you want from me?
I'm quitting the force, that's what.
Calm down.